Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi
How are you?
wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, sir, for the very wonderful session, sir.
You're always
May
welcome.
Allah reward you.
I mean,
So,
yeah.
I want to ask a question. The question is that when do we ML on a particular data set, when do we conclude that maybe we are getting a very poor result, and we try to use hyperparameter tuning and it's not working? We try to use different algorithm, and the result is not actually what we actually want. The result is poor. When do we give up on the data? I would say we have to try to source for other data.
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. When do we actually say enough is enough of trying? Okay? Yeah. So, but the issue of data set is a big issue. And without data sets, the machine learning cannot perform some of the wonderful functions it can perform. So, a data set is not something we can just do away with at random. We have tried, it's not working. Sometimes you contact your client, the client will tell you that it took us 3 years to get this data set. They cannot afford to throw it away. So you have to keep trying, looking for options that you can do actually to get better results. So before we can declare data set as unfit for anything, we must have exhausted all the possible options. And it's also depend on our experience. That's why sometimes when we get stuck, we have to reach out to experienced people. Sometimes even experienced people also will ask their experienced colleagues again. I'm facing a very challenging data. Have you faced such a thing before? Then they exchange ideas. You see some kind of system now. You see, for example, on LinkedIn, you can have a kind of the LinkedIn forum. They try to invite some top people in data science to be participating in answering questions people are asking. People are facing a lot of issues regarding what can I do to get good results? What can I do to get? So in short, we cannot just use our own knowledge to declare that the data is not good. We have to get another data set, but rather, these are some of the stuff we can do actually. And in one of hopefully our subsequent meeting, we will be discussing something on some of the procedures we can actually take to make sure that we don't miss the opportunity to get good results. But for a quick one thing you can look at is, like I said, don't mutilate your data. Once you feel the missing values, if you can treat outliers possible, go straight and do experiment. So do the hyperparameter optimization. This is important. Hyperparameter optimization. Is it working? You find out it's not yet eating what you are supposed to eat. Then it is time for you to look inward again. Change the algorithms. None of them is working. Go for a couple of algorithms. Run them automatically. Weaker has an auto area there. I personally don't recommend it. I don't use it. Sometimes it misses very important information. So try to run as many as possible. So once you have exhausted all the possible algorithm you think you know, then this is time for you to start thinking of what I call ensemble. Ensemble, because it has been established that there are some data sets, there are some areas that are very complicated in getting data set for. And the available data set, they are not able to really interpret the area in a very correct manner that machine learning can easily work on. In that case, ensemble might work for you. In some of the competitions that, for example, Kaggle, KDD, and so many competitions on data science machine learning, the winning teams have always used ensemble. It's not possible for an individual model to grasp complicated data. It's a near impossibility, by the way. If the data is really imagine somebody put up a competition that if you can improve our performance by 10%, just 10%, we're going to give you $1 million. You think somebody will put up $1 million for something very simple? No way. So they know that the data is so complicated that no single algorithm can do that. So what people have been doing is to create ensemble. And the ensemble, the more the number of ensembles, the better. So you create several ensembles of different algorithms. Sometimes 151 ensemble base learners. You train 151, sometimes 255. Because if you are going to do voting ensemble, you have to make sure the number is odd number to make voting possible. So train as many base learners as possible and then mark their result together in a voting pattern or in a stacking ensemble or whatever type of ensemble. Sometimes you have to do ensemble of ensemble. See, we form a team. We have a team of 10 good data science guys. So we give them, oh, you go and build one ensemble. Use at least 55 model in your ensemble. Mr. A. Mr. B, build your own ensemble also. Use 55 models of your choice. Hey, Mr. C, build another one. Up to 10 guys. We come up, their result again, we are going to put them together again, another ensemble. This is called ensemble inside another ensemble. And sometimes we have multiple cascaded ensemble just because we want to get the problem solved. And what we come to realize is when you build enough ensemble, no matter how complicated the data set will be forced to comply to provide the needed information to get the work done. Because what individual model is doing is just an elephant. You see, when we discuss ensemble, if a data is complicated, just like an elephant, there's no single model that can model an elephant is too big. So each model will try to focus on a particular part of that elephant. Then we can now combine together. And what have you seen? I've seen the pipe of it. I'll see the back. I've seen the front row. I'll see the eye. Everybody will now contribute, and hopefully our joint decision can lead to getting better results. So until we have exhausted the possible ensemble and hybrid models, my brother, I want to say that we cannot just condemn a data set that is not okay. Yeah. So it's most especially, but if you have the opportunity for getting data set within few days, or there are alternative data available for you, ready-made, why not? You can try them out. But for a company of a real-life data set, it's not always easy to drop data set and get new one. New one get a lot of time before we can get it, and there's no guarantee that the same problem will not also come again, because some areas are just very, very complicated that only ensemble and kind of compound modeling techniques can get the problem solved in a better way. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
You're correct.
Hello, Prof. There's a question on the chat box. It says, can Weka be used for pre-processing?
Yeah, well, it depends on the pre-processing that we are talking about. Yeah, people, the Weka can do pre-processing like feature selection, like try to do some balancing the data. Yeah, so Weka can do that sometimes. Yeah, so yeah, you can do some stuff, and sometimes you might have to support it with your Excel capability also. Yeah, but you can do some, but not as powerful as some programming stuff like maybe pile-up in Python. There's some special data preprocessing stuff in Python that somebody can use. And then, yeah, I've seen the question now. Which side can we get open source data for healthcare? Well, I believe we uploaded some site recently where we have a lot of data set there. So also anybody who can get hold of it can help us share it back. Otherwise, we will again try to post it back. A lot of data set, free one for different areas of interest out there. And of course, we can always also ask Mr. Google, so for other new data systems that are coming up. So we have shared before, we have also tried to share it again. So that clarify. Yeah. So yeah, let's not forget something just said. I was supposed to mention here before you go to the ensemble stuff. Once your hyperparameter is done, then you must need to check. Maybe your data is imbalance. See, imbalance. It's also good to actually check it out. Imbalance data set. Imbalance means when you have a classification problem with one class is like 1,000 samples, and the other class is just 10 samples. That is too little. You see, in that case, you have to try to see how you balance the data set. So in reality, sometimes you might have to do some other there's something also we call data normalization. You might need to normalize your data. It's part of the pre-processing you can do. There's some pre-processing you can subject your data to that can also improve the performance of your data set. But all these, they are optional ones that don't do it on your data except if it becomes very necessary. Otherwise, you get your data mutilated and then you miss the important information in your data set. So it is after the original data. I always like original data should be let to speak. It's after you have exhausted the original data and yet you are not getting something reasonable, then it's okay, can I normalize the data? Because we have seen a case whereby normalized data produce worse result compared to original data set. And we have seen people, they made it compulsory. They have developed a pipeline in Python. Once they put in their data set, the first thing is to normalize the data. It's wrong. When you normalize data, it's no more original data set. So in this case, they miss the opportunity of letting the data speak. It is when the original data is not able to speak clearly, your own algorithm is not able to understand what the data is saying, then you can go for normalization, some other methods before then you can go to ensemble. So before you go to ensemble, try to do normalization, imbalancing, and then all those kind of minor stuff, because ensemble is complicated. Imagine trying to, because when you develop an ensemble of 3, 5, 7, 15 algorithms, this is not ensemble power. You want real power of ensemble, you have to do as many as possible. And the good news is you can set it up in the data experimenter setting, like similar to the grid site today. So you have a lot of experiments there, you can do them, and then you can then get your result out. So I think, I hope that those are the questions for the day. And
Sir, there are times that you say that there are some groups that are formed that we can join. I don't know whether there is any group that is in maybe like a competitive competition phase, that like all this group competition and the likes, that someone can join.
Okay, thank you very much. So we appreciate the effort of our admin, and we kindly call on them also to help us maybe repost some of those groups. We have some groups. So I know one of the groups is they're working very actively towards getting a paper out soon in their area of interest. And some work and then they relax, while some are still working at the preparatory level. So if the admin can help us maybe post again those links to those groups so that people can join them and also can gear them up towards hopefully getting at least let them practice and then they can get a better result out. For example, in a kind of group work, you can actually sort of very, very nice ensemble, and you can see how it can work greatly for you to achieve better result. So inshallah, we hope the admin will help us to ginger those, especially the leader of those group also. We talk to some of them to again help us encourage people and support people towards them getting their feet as they try to implement their own models. So thank you very much for that.